Good afternoon. I'm actually at a farmer's market type thing here. It's a private farm. So you might hear some noise. Maybe, maybe not. And there might be times where I might not talk much because I want it to look like I'm talking to myself. Jason Tako. Just gonna do a sketch. Whoops. Of this tree. It's a beautiful maple tree. My wife and I came here yesterday to get some vegetables and chicken that they grow. That's organic. Has to be, because I know my wife wouldn't get anything else. And my wife brought me here because she thought I might like some of the scenery here, and she was correct. They got some nice stuff here. Good food too, by the way. So let's get a quick sketch in here. Colors on my palette: titanium white, cadmium lemon, cadmium orange, yellow ochre, transparent red oxide, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, viridian, and I have sap green this time. So what are my intentions on this one? What do I want to capture? I want to really capture the light on that trunk. And just the shape of it too. I thought the shape was really neat. There's some shadow coming in there. I painted a little darker than what I'm seeing at the start out. And of course we have shadow down here. Switch to a smaller brush. And let's try to get in the shadow of the shadow side of the trunk. I'm going to try to avoid using transparent red oxide or brown. See if I can at least get away with it to start out. It can become a crutch sometimes. I might have to resort to it, but I just want to challenge myself a little bit. I don't have a lot of time to dink around though with experimenting because the light is going to change very fast. It is toward evening. The sun will drop super fast. Hey doggy, they got a big golden retriever here coming up to say hi. So when I get up into this area, when I squint at it, the whole thing is the same value. Just a slight shift in color temperature. I haven't decided if I'm going to put this out for the YouTube public. I'm doing less and less for the YouTube public and doing more and more exclusively for my Patreon supporters. If you want to become a Patreon supporter, click on the link below if you're seeing this on YouTube public. If you're not, then no harm lost, or no harm done, I should say. Okay, so since I know that This light's going to change fast. I'm just zeroing in on the trunk of this tree. It has beautiful form to it. And just trying to remember the squint. Now I got a cat coming up to visit me. That's a little too red there for that foliage. Let's see if we can knock that down with some Viridian. The alizarin is a lot stronger than the Viridian, so it can be hard to knock that Viridian down once it's in there. And when you're painting shadows, you know, don't think of them as shadows. Just think of everything as shapes of color. I know when I first started out, I used to get freaked out at the thought of shadows. You know, what are they? And dip into the brown a little bit. And they don't really scare me anymore because I just see them as it's just a different color shape. Get me blocking a little bit of the background in there. Sync value first. What is the value of that background compared to the dark of this right here? It's pretty light. Don't look at the background by itself. Look at it as in comparison to this dark you've put in there. It's notes of color. Alright, so now let's see if I can... Actually, I want to get some of that darken on the side. Let's see if I can make this sap green work for me. Sap green, I just found it to be such a heavy, warm color, and I'm so used to working with Viridian that I tried it out west for the first time last year, and boy, it just really tripped me up. Throwing a little more Viridian. I want to remember to squint at this. Yeah, that sap green is super warm. when you're up against a gun like this, try not to rush. It's really hard to do. I feel rushed right now, but I shouldn't. I like to get things done a la prima, but they don't always have to be done a la prima. You can always come back the next day, and provided the light's the same. It's a little trickier when you're dealing with the change of season. If you're dealing with fall or spring, this is spring still, because when it's a change of season, that leaves are falling off the trees in the fall. Plus the weather is just a lot more unpredictable. So you might have a nice day, and then you want to finish up the next day, and you can't because the light's different, and then the wind comes in and it blows all the leaves off the trees, and that's it for the year. You can't finish your painting. So I've tried to get things done a la prima if possible. What a la prima means, if you're new to painting, it's just a fancy term for getting it all done in one session. Okay, the strongest color I probably have is these leaves are still pretty yellow. We're still in spring. Let's switch to a palette knife. Switching to a palette knife because I can set the paint down a little easier working wet on wet without creating a big mess. Okay, I think I should clean off the palette here. Okay, so now that I have some color masses blocked in, not worried about this business over here, there. I really want to get this in here. I want to get the form of that tree. That is really what I came for. So let's get that in. And with the sun dropping fast, shadows shifting, you could end up having this whole thing being blocked out very soon in total shadow. So as we roll around into the light, we're of course going to get lighter in value. Going to get it warmer too. And I'm actually seeing a lot of green in this transition, which does kind of make sense because there's a lot of ambient light going on in here. I'm seeing some more warmth as we go in here, but not green warm, but a little more red. So you go for an approximate, try to get that in, and then first thing to ask yourself, how are my values? Too light, too dark? And you have to do it kind of fast. Let's soften this up a bit. That's a little too yellow-green in here. That's okay. Just cool it off a little bit. I'd rather go a little too warm and a little too dark. It's a lot easier to lighten and cool that than vice versa. Now what's interesting is that this dark right here is actually, it's a local color thing going on in the tree. Because as it's getting sun, I can see that it actually gets kind of a magenta color. Let's see if I can be convincing about that. Actually, maybe a little cooler. Sometimes you have these weird things happen, and you might paint them and they don't look right in the painting just because it's so unusual. Okay, there's a big knot in here. Let's see if we can get an indication of that in. That gets a little too cool maybe. Let's go back in with a bit more warmth. Okay, I actually like what's happening now. You're not going to see this in the photo, but we get some dappled effect going on here. Right in there. I got to strengthen that shadow. It got a little too light on me. Let's put a dap or two of light in there. Okay, so I think I'm going to switch over to just my Patreon members. If you want to see it, $5 a month. You can watch all my Plein videos that I'm posting on there from start to finish in their entirety. No commercial interruptions. It really helps keep this going. But thank you for watching. Give me a like, and we'll see you again.